One of the things that I love about the current gaming scene for vintage computer systems is the reimagining of classic games that look to provide a fresher gaming experience. RodMan, developed by Mika Karanen, is a great example of this theme. Upon first glance, you would be forgiven to consider RodMan as nothing more than a Pac-Man clone, but the game is much more. Your objective is not only to guide RodMan around the maze collecting round peels while avoiding enemy characters. You can also collect diamond bombs that are to be used to blow up and eliminate the bad guys. To further distinguish itself, RodMan takes a departure from the single screen action by having its 3 game levels spread across 3 distinct screens that represent a garden, the house, and the basement. Despite the limited number of levels on offer, RodMan provides challenging gameplay that requires precision turns and considered planning. Each of the enemies appear to exhibit different behaviour, with at least one on each screen moving about at a far greater speed than RodMan. RodMan is only available in a special multi-format triple cassette edition from The Future Was 8-Bit. The formats covered include Amstrad CPC, Atari 8-Bit, Commodore 16, Commodore Vic 20, Commodore 64, MSX, Oric and ZX Spectrum. Let's take a quick look at RodMan across all the formats. The Amstrad version features bright graphics that are well defined. However, enemies are all the same colour. Sound effects have a nice bass sound to them, which complements RodMan's movement very well. There are 2 versions for the Atari 8-bit. The multicolour version lacks graphical fidelity, and the scrolling background gives a semi-3D feel that I found off-putting. It made me feel uncomfortable in the same way as the 3D effect does on a Nintendo 3DS. The high-resolution version looks a lot sharper and is easier on the eye, though this is at the cost of presenting the game in only 2 contrasting colours. Commodore 16 version features balanced colour levels that are probably best on the eyes for long play sessions. The graphics are well defined and the enemies are in different colours. I also appreciate the deeper bass levels in the game's sound effects. The Commodore 64 graphics are well defined here and the enemies are in different colours as well, but the colour scheme is somewhat dull. The sound effects here are also not as full as the C16's. The Vic 20 version has typical characteristics for the machines, where the graphics look somewhat squashed. Other than that, colours are bright and sound effects have a nice bass tone to them. The Oric version suffers from having RodMan, the peels and enemies all the same colour, and unlike the other versions, all 3 sections of each level use the same colour scheme. The ZX Spectrum game looks good. Lots of colour and graphics are very well defined. The in-game sound level is somewhat low and lacks a touch of bass tone. Unfortunately, I do not have a physical MSX machine, and I was not able to get the game to run on an emulator. The footage on screen is taken from the Future Was 8-bit promotion video for the game. To me, all formats of RodMan played quite well, and the amount of variation between them was somewhat immaterial. The version you will like best will come down to more of a personal preference on how you like your games to look and feel. For me, I enjoyed playing the Commodore 16 version the most. It had the best blend of graphics and sound tones. Perhaps the only thing I could really fault the game on is that the collision detection is a bit off. In a game that is highly reliant on precision movement to get out of tricky situations, it can be frustrating to lose a life when it is clear that an enemy character has not made contact with RodMan. But overall, RodMan does play very well and is a rewarding gaming experience with its blending of Pac-Man style action and Bomberman type strategy. The multi-format release of RodMan is a great idea by Future Was the 8-bit and makes it somewhat unique for collectors. When you consider the quality of game on offer, then I think you cannot go too far wrong with picking up your copy of the triple cassette edition.